And here we are. Probably the hardest week of the year to shop when you want to get nutrition on the end of your fork. And we've got a rush on to get rid of that stock that's sitting on the floor. And you can see that played out through the various catalogues. You can see what the intent is and what they want you to put in their trolley, so it doesn't become half price upon half price next Monday when suddenly Easter isn't wanted anymore. I'm John. I'm a clinical nutritionist. I'm here to navigate the noise with you because I know from my patients and my own ill health how hard it is to navigate and find your path back to good health through nutrition. So if we look at the catalogues this week, and we're going to do things a little bit differently, we're going to look at all three. So this is a combined video, so I'm giving you 3 for 1. And if we look at the Woolworths catalogue, we've got fantastic looking salmon on the front page, $30 a kilo. And I will get to, but that should definitely be in your trolley, and the reasons why. You've got some prawns there. Prawns are discounted across the board in almost all supermarkets, I would say. And then that's all I have to say about that. But, down the bottom, this guy's still teasing you. This particular one is, what's he got? I think it's 82 grams. Or it might be 68. It might be the middle one. Second page there, eggs. No, real eggs, not just fake eggs. So those eggs, $9 for 18, mightn't be the best market price, but there's a little clever gimmick that I kind of like. And that is those eggs have faces on them. And that's fun, right? And if you've got kids, what a great way to get them interested in real food and cooking in the kitchen and making food that can excite them. Still with eggs, but real eggs. So I kind of like that. Thumbs up, Coles. But yeah, price range, it sort of looks like the Hero. $9 sounds good, but when you compare an 18-pack versus a 12-pack in Coles and Aldi, I think there's a 48 cent to 52 cent difference in the actual egg, Aldi being 48 cents. But yeah, I kind of like it. And then you look through, you've got to stumble over half price, more Easter, page 8, yes, cakes. Oh, look, hot cross buns, who would have thought? And then we do get to some seafood on page 14. And this is where I start to take note, and I think you should take note. We had the $28 a kilo on the front page. This is the prepackaged salmon, $46.67 per kilo. But the cut's not as good. The quality's not as good as the deli one. But if you're ordering from home and can't wait at the deli, then that's the one to get. Various prawns. And you have fresh barramundi here, $28 a kilo. And there's another reason I think you should put that in your trolley this week. And there's a couple of options. There's fresh barra and there's thawed barra. And that's the more expensive one. But the quality is just excellent. And prawns, frozen, fresh, stiff, clear of the heavily laden seed oils and high fat content in the seafood sauce. And you've obviously got some salmon there. But that's the good news. You've got a bit of the barramundi again there on the other page. They're pushing that, and so they should. It's wonderful. And then the food, what else we got? We've got lamb, and that's a feature in all 3 supermarkets. And you've got a really good price there for macro free range. Is that organic? No, it's just RSPCA approved. And it's looking good there. You've got some pork without getting too much to the details. And that's the flavour in Woolworths. And then the real food sort of disappears. And then you see my crosses and finding it hard to find real food past those pages. And they just keep wanting you to buy. No different story. But then if I switch to Coles, very different strategy in Coles. Coles are still leading with Easter. But Coles wants your shopping basket. They want you to go in and buy in their shop. And the reason I say that is because you get into it and there's real food very quickly. And there's great variety. So we do have the bunnies and, 80 grams. I think they're 80 grams. Wow, they're half price. They're $3.50. So if they don't sell them this week, here's my prediction. They'll be $1.75 on Easter Monday. And they should stay $1.75 on Easter Monday. So there they are. And cleverly placed right in the food at the top. And you've got the bonus leg of pork, $9 a kilo, and that's pretty much a market-leading price. You've got the salmon at 34. I think we went back to Woolworths and that was 30, wasn't it? So it's a bit more expensive. The prawns are thereabouts. Yes, we get half price on stuff you shouldn't be buying. 40% off Easter. That was pretty quick on page 4. But then we get straight into the food. And I like it because it's straight into good food, variety of seafood, and it's excellent. You've got the thawed barrow there at 15 at Coles. It was fresh 28 at Woolworths. And you've also got the barrow there on the left-hand side. So both at Coles and Woolworths, fresh barramundi, $28 a kilo. Get a monster. And then scrolling on, we've got lamb. What's that? Is it lamb? Yes, it's all lamb on page 8. That's excellent. And what have we got there? Easter lunch and spot. I think there's some sausages, no go. Processed. And then, more food. See, this is what I was alluding to. You've got the seafood mix. You've got smoked salmon. It's just a real delight and easy to shop, right? Keep going. You start to get into some of the naughty stuff, which I'll talk to in a second. And then you go to our friends at Aldi, and our friends at Aldi, they've done something in the press this week. They've sort of laid down their new brand strategy, which you can see in this catalogue. But I will just cut to that for the moment.
You don't have to do that here. You don't have to.
How do I know if it's the best?
They're Aldi prices. You don't have to check them.
Really?
No need to check twice. You get quality for less. That's Aldi prices. Aldi, good different.
But you don't need to check. So what would that behaviour buy if you were not checking the prices at Aldi? That would buy you margin if I was sceptical. But a bit like Bunnings, right? Lowest prices and just the beginning. But if they can't compete, they don't sell it. So you're not going to find fresh barramundi or fresh salmon in there because they don't sell it. They're not set up for it. But what they do stock, yes, you will get a good price on almost every day of the week, except when it's on special. And that's what I'm here to navigate. So front page of Aldi, you've got some pajamas, but we get straight into food. And it's real food, but it's snacking. So they might have the lowest prices and they might be saying, hey, don't check. But if you go in and shop how they want you to shop, you're just going to spend more on food because this stuff's not filling you up. It's snack time. And go through. We've got some pasta. I think that's the same as last week. It might have been. But anyway, some spaghetti. Anchovy fillets as the highlight. I don't think the average Australian's going to warm to that recipe, but creative. And you got beef done right. You've got a premium cuts of beef here. We've got $40 a kilo for the beef Scotch fillet. Porterhouse, $38 a kilo. It's in a 2-pack. And beef rump per kilo, $25.99. Although, having said that, I don't think 2 porterhouses is going to be a kilo, so it is going to be cheaper than that. And then you've got the last image there, if I'm correct, before the back page. Yes. Ready for Easter, and you've got fantastic food imagery, food photography. It's real food. But yeah, it's snacking. It's not dinner, is it? It's Mediterranean. It's fresh. Now, it's not fresh; it's real. It's pickled, arguably with some salt and sugar when you look closer. But yeah, it's not fueling your dinner. And some lovely fruit and veg specials, everyday low price. Love my Brussels sprouts. And there's some of the things we talked about last week. It's a limited time only. One did a deep dive, and yeah, the ingredients were quite alarming when we looked into it. Selling the time, and so you overlook what's actually in it. And the prawns $27.99, similar at Coles and Aldi, and avocados at the moment 90 cents. And landing with, again, full marks of marketing, better bang for your cluck with the chicken $4.99. And we saw at Woolworths they were price matching that this week. But that's the catalogues there. And this is what I want to touch on. To me, out of the catalogues this week, other than these guys, I think one of the worst things you could put in your trolley, one of them, is the iced Vovo ice cream. Now, it's marketing genius because it's appealing to nostalgia when I looked into it. Arnott's used to do a range of ice creams about 10 years ago, and they've brought back the flavour. And when you can find it online, there's someone on Instagram who used to be an R&D for Arnott's and tastes this and says it's the real biscuit flavour. Shows his business card too, so it's authentic. But yeah, basically what you're buying is a collection of ingredients, sugar under various names, that form a biscuit, which has some dairy added, so it forms ice cream. If I take their word for it, it's a taste sensation, but the rule of dopamine is you're not satisfied, you just want more. And calorifically, and it's quite dense, and it doesn't have any added benefits. So what am I saying? I'm not saying don't have fun. What am I saying is there's a path or alternative path here. See, that's $6 for 1 litre. It's saving too, but anyway, that's $6. What else could you buy with $6 in the ice cream sweet category? Well, I'll tell you what, in this week you can buy at Coles Bulla ice cream for 2 litres for $6. That's right, you're getting double the volume for $6. Once again, ingredients, it's a little bit better, but yeah, there's additives in there, isn't there? And so what should you consider to just itch that scratch that you just need itching, that's a little bit of sweetness? Well, it's in Woolworths and Coles, really. I'm talking about these high protein dairy desserts. You've got the Wicked Sister there at half price. We had the Rockaby puddings half price last week in Woolworths. And you've got the Paul's Plus Protein, same, high protein, not overly calorific. That one's 99 calories, pretty good. But once you strip out the protein that's been added to the product, and yes, it's dairy, yes, it's portion control, so they're controlling the calories. That's about it. That's about the benefit. What's my point here? Well, when you go through it and you look at the ingredients, and you go from the Ice Favo ice cream, you go to the Bulla ice cream, and you look at these desserts. Well, these desserts are a lesser evil because you aren't having those sugars under various names. You're having less sugar, no added sugar, so that's a tick. They've upped the protein artificially. You're still getting the benefits of dairy. It is a dairy dessert, so what does that mean? That means it's got calcium in it. But that's about it. So functionally, you're sort of missing out. It's itching that scratch. What would I recommend? I'd be recommending some Greek yogurt. Now that could be full fat Greek yogurt, Chobani, or it could be light. And why would I say that? It's not because I'm the fun police, by the way. because I'll just read you the ingredients I've got here, which is off the skim variety. It's ingredients: skim milk, live cultures milk, and that's it. So in terms of nutrition, you're getting the pure dairy and you're getting the natural protein. You're getting 14 grams of protein per serve. The serve's 100 grams. The other thing that you're getting is a very reduced calorie intake compared to the ice cream. For 100, per serve is actually 160. For 160 grams of the Greek yogurt, you're only getting 89 calories. So very light. Off the top of my head, the full cream one's about 50% more, but at 160 calories, it's still not bad when you look at some of the calories on the ice creams. Now, plain Greek yogurt, great. That's not very fun. But here's where it gets interesting. Frozen raspberries, $8, and this is the everyday price for Coles raspberries. I did look at organic, but this is a little bit cheaper. And if you had 150 or 100 to 150 grams of the raspberries with 160 grams of the Greek yogurt, and you whip that up, dust it with a little bit of cinnamon if you like. Cinnamon's good for blood glucose and control, and also tastes great. Then you've got yourself a fully packed dessert there. What do I mean by that? Well, you've got I want to call it a nutrition powerhouse. I might be over exaggerating, but you're having more than just dairy and some protein. You're having tryptophan in the Greek yogurt, which is amino acid. And why is that important to have amino acid profile after dinner, say? Well, that's a precursor to melatonin, and melatonin is just sleep hormone. So having that serve after dinner is going to be an aid to onset of sleep. What else are you going to have in there? With the addition of the raspberries, you're going to have 8 grams of fiber, which is probably about 20 to 25% of your daily fiber needs. And you're getting that in the dessert, which you're not getting in a Rockaby or a Paul's or a Wicked Sister, and you're definitely not getting that in the ice cream. And why am I going to Greek ice cream and not the flavoured ice creams? Well, even in the Chobani range, you go for the Greek strawberry, you've got 10 grams of added sugar and you've got no fibre, and it's more processed when you look at the ingredients. But I have the no sugar variety strawberry, you might say. Well, that's great, but you've got no fibre again, and you've got the added sweeteners as well. It's still training your taste buds for sweet, and it's not delivering any fibre to you. So that dessert is going to support satiety, support blood sugar, and also support your sleep. So slam dunk, triple win. That's what I say. And that's what I have. Do I have the other desserts from time to time? Yes, I do. I definitely do. But my real point is you don't need to cut it out. You just need to step it down. So where are you today? If you're going to have the Ice Vovo and that is absolutely essential, well, then go out and have it. But notice how you feel afterwards. Does it leave you satisfied, or you just want more? Do you intend to have a little bit and then all of a sudden all the tub's gone? Again, on the Buller Classic ice cream, how do you feel afterwards? Well, here's my challenge. Go out and buy whatever appeals to you and eat it and have it. But pick up some Greek Chobani yogurt. And I say Chobani because it's one of the clean ones on the market. You can get an Aldi variety, you can get a Coles variety, you can get a Woolworths variety. They're almost the same profile, still clean. I find the Chobani smoother. You could even pick up the full fat Chobani if you want. It's added mouthfeel. It does have more calories, but it has added mouthfeel, and it's more of a creamy texture. And add some raspberries. Add some frozen raspberries in. You don't need to clean them. It's easier. Add some organic if you want. But yeah, have a good serve of that, 160 grams. Have 100 to 150 grams of raspberries, and then put some cinnamon on it. And I guarantee you feel fuller straight afterwards. And you'll feel better. And the next day you'll feel better because you've got that satiety of the protein and the fibre together. And you're not going to be snacking after that and after dinner. because that's when you should be shutting your digestion down to give your digestion a rest, and manage your circadian rhythms. But yeah, that's enough for my nutrition education. So if you're not buying iced Vivo ice cream, what should you buy this week? What should you put in your trolley? Should you go with what Aldi says and don't bother looking and just go there? Well, no, because if you were just going to buy the cheapest, you would go there because Aldi is consistently cheapest in chicken, and you just feed your family chicken 7 days a week. Should you do that? It's a lean meat. Isn't that good? Well, no, you need fat in your diet. And if you're just going to eat lean meat, your fat-soluble vitamins, your A, D, E, and K, are going to be not getting where they need to be. And what does that mean? Where does that show up as? Your hormones. They don't run as like they should. Your blood sugar regulation, your sex hormones, your satiety hormones. It just doesn't run as your thyroid hormones. You need fat. Fat's good. And it's 90s logic to think that low fat is better. You need fat in your diet. You need good fats. So you need a variety of meats. So what should you buy? Well, I'm going to guide you. I'm going to help you here. You need to buy what you can cook, not just what's cheap, right? Keep it simple. Have a base of your chicken, your mince, your eggs. Keep that as consistent. Don't move away from that. Why? Because it's easier, and you also get it's easier to cook. It's quicker, and you get good nutrition from it. But you need to plan your fish, because if you don't plan, it doesn't happen. And beyond that, you need to anchor a good omega-3 day. What do I mean by that? I mean salmon or small oily fish, and that can be polarizing. So sardines and mackerel or anchovies, right? Because the omega-3 in salmon and trout is off the scale compared to the next. And you need that to balance your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. Otherwise, your omega-6 is taking over, and your inflammatories and your reactive oxygen species. You need to balance out with antioxidants, right? And red meat needs to be part of the mix, but it can't be 7 days. There are long-term longitudinal studies. What does that mean? Over a long period of time, that see that high increase of red meat diet, or mainly a red meat diet, is related to a variety of metabolic diseases and conditions. It doesn't mean it caused it, but it's just associated with. So the recommendation is 455 grams of cooked per week. How do you measure that? You don't walk around with scales. I'm suggesting if you do red meat 3 to 4 times a week, you'll meet those guidelines. And importantly, where it's not, then you need to be supplementing with either seafood or poultry. So not every night of the week. And rotate the proteins. Don't eat the same thing all the time. And then also, within 7 days, build a flex meal. And maybe that's leftovers. Maybe that's eggs. Maybe you can make a frittata or a quiche. Eggs are a complete source of protein. You put some thickened cream in there and maybe some cottage cheese, and then it starts to be quite a high protein dinner with your leftovers, with your veg, and can be tasty. Helps you keep on track. Flexitarian, whatever you like, your vegetarian night, have fun with it. And they're the guidelines. So knowing those guidelines and not just buying the cheapest protein, then how does that fit into this week, this difficult week of the year, this Easter week? Well, poultry, as I mentioned before, Aldi's generally the cheapest. Whole chicken at $4.99. Woolworths is matching it this week at $5. And your red meat, if red meat's in your plan, then Coles is where you build it. It's got the variety of specials in red meat. It's got rump at $24 a kilo. Aldi does give a good base. And Woolworths has the premium cuts. The omega-3s that I talked about in the salmons, Woolworths and Coles are both sitting at that 28 to 30 per kilogram, and that high-grade cut that you'll need to buy from the deli, but it's definitely quality. It isn't where you find the bargains in that omega-3 and that salmon, but it's where you need to be to execute the plan. And other seafood, you're spoiled for choice right now. You've got thawed barramundi at $15 a kilo, or you've got the fresh barramundi in both Woolworths and Coles at $28 a kilo. And Aldi does have frozen, but they don't have the same quality in fresh. And you can kind of taste that, right? And the other seafood, you got prawns. You got prawns everywhere, but Coles really wins the seafood this week. They're really going all out, as we saw in the catalogue. And pork doesn't really feature much in the catalogues. There's a Coles pork leg roast at $9 a kilo, which is a really good price. It's probably almost the price leading. Aldi has a consistent baseline, and Woolworths has premium cuts of pork around that $18 a kilo. But it's not just generally about one store winning. It's about knowing which one wins and for what sector and planning your meals. But that's a guide, so you don't go in blind. Because if you go in blind, you're going to be led to buy these things, and you're going to end up drunk on eggs, and not the real kind, not the real eggs came out of a chicken. And you'll wake up with a hangover in the morning and wonder, where's the real food? So go on and plan. That way impulse doesn't win. Okay, intention wins out. And then you get nutrition on the end of the fork. And until next week, stay strong.